What up? What up? What up, people? This is a special late night edition. Me and Alonzo thought that it'd be cool to talk about Black Adam, and of course, we actually Terrence. It's kind of like equilibrium without our fourth member.
There's really not much we could say about the Black Adam other than it's the hottest trailer.
I'm sorry. Black Lightning, I meant. Good Lord. I got Black Adam on the brain.
But what is up? You know, this is like an equilibrium, and I ain't gonna lie. I just text him, see if he would answer.
Yeah, he probably ain't watch it. He probably sleep. Well, he's in a different part of the country, so he might be still up. Maybe he'll reach out.
Hopefully.
If so, he's definitely welcome. Terrence, what's going on in your world, bro?
Oh, everything is okay. Yeah, I had to go to the back of the house because there's a lot of noise up front.
I got you. Well, this right here, in my opinion, is a very sad occasion because I really enjoy Black Lightning. I think out of the 4 seasons, this was by far the best to me. A little disappointed in some spots of the series finale, but man, this last season, man, they did their thing. They're not sure why they canceled the show. I'm not sure the ratings, but man, I really enjoyed it. How about you, Angela?
I thought this was pretty much the best season. Like I didn't have a problem with any of the seasons, season 1, season 2, and 3, and this one. But man, they just did so much in this season that I liked, and there was a change that they did. We'll just say there was a change that they did in the show where they changed Jennifer, and I wasn't feeling that change, but they corrected that at the last episode.
There was a change that they. I'm sorry.
It's all right. So they changed that at the last episode, and I thought they did an amazing job with that. Well done.
I was kind of caught. I didn't have any idea what that cloud was. I didn't even have any idea about that. When they did it, I was like, okay, but the fight scene was a little underwhelming to me. And to her, I don't think she's a very good actress, the original Jennifer. To me, she tries to act too ghettoish on some stuff to me, or was it just me?
No, I can understand what you're saying, but I thought she was better than the other Jennifer, JJ, or whatever the hell they called her. I thought she was better than her. That girl I wasn't feeling.
At first I wasn't when I first saw something to enjoy. Thanks for the super chat, $2 super chat. Enjoy says hi everyone, man. I appreciate it.
What up, Ninja?
Yeah, when she first came at that pod, I was like, man, what are they doing? But then I found out that the other girl, I guess, had some kind of contractual disagreement or something. I'm not certain. And then she kind of grew on me. But then when they found out what it was, and then if I ain't mistaken, she had that robotic voice and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, I wasn't really feeling that storyline, but it wasn't terrible. What are you going to say? Any comments, Terrence?
Oh yeah, I enjoyed the series finale, but the thing is that a lot of humans, they don't understand that they had 2 more seasons planned. So that wasn't technically supposed to be the series finale. They got the axe at the last second, but considering that wasn't supposed to be the series finale, it has a nice ending feel to it in the sense of the things that went down that they presented. So from everything that they showcased in the final season and all the different plot threads that were supposed to lead to other seasons and also a spin-off show, I thought it was all handled really well because a lot of it was pulled from the Black Lightning comics. So I've read quite a bit of those, and there was a lot of stuff that was there that were winks and nods, and then they threw a little bit of creative spice in there just to keep it a little different, and I was very satisfied with it.
Yeah, man.
To me, after maybe the second or third Painkiller episode, to me, it seemed like it was really rushed. Like they really sped it up because we never saw what happened to the woman that could control people with that silver stuff. He just gave her over to the cops. She never testified to clear Jefferson's name. The way the fight with him and Tobias, that seemed rushed to me. Okay, Tobias said he killed him. I thought he killed him, but he wakes up in the grave. I mean, Tobias didn't kill him.
Kill who?
Black Lightning. Wouldn't you know if you'd kill somebody or not?
Well, it's not as like simple as that seems like, because if you essentially knock him unconscious and his heart starts, like he can use the kinetic energy to jumpstart it. So that's probably what they did there. I mean, you would have to.
They had the emitter. The emitter was killing all their powers during that time.
Yes, I understand that, but like they showcase with Jennifer, they can still pull from the energy that's around them. It will be in smaller concentrations, but like if Tobias in that particular position, like how he thought he killed him, I'm like, you have to make sure when it comes to the Pierce family, because if not, they're gonna come back. They're just gonna lose their consciousness, or they're gonna appear dead, but they'll be fine.
Okay, I agree with you. Any other circumstances, but during that time, the emitter was still working, and then he didn't know he could pull from whatever kind of rock that was. His daddy kind of told him, "Look, man, how his dad say, you got what you need, but you never used it before," or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when he pulled from whatever that kryptonite like shit, whatever was.
Well, there's electrical energy in all the surroundings anyway. It's kind of like the same thing, like when you prick something too hard with your nail and you get shocked. It's the same sort of principle, except amplified because they're DC characters. So, that's how I took it, when it was being presented like that, because I'm like, there's no way that they're going to kill him like that. It would have to be something more extreme.
Well, I think it was decent the way it was done, but like Danny said, it was kind of I don't know. I guess you could say rush, because that fight with him and Tobias was corny as fuck. I'm sorry.
Tobias is not a good fighting court. He can't fight good.
Bro, there was one part where they were like on the counter and breaking glass over each other's head, and I was like, really? Are you fucking kidding me? Yeah, the choreography was horrible, and even with Jennifer fighting the other Jennifer, the fighting was absolutely horrible. The only fighting that I thought was pretty good was Painkiller and Isaiah.
Yeah, that guy that plays Painkiller, you can tell he's serious about that role, because I think he really knows martial art. At least it looks like he does.
He knows something. Mm-hmm.
Or his stand-in is good. And the way they had him, Painkiller, and then Khalil, I love that. When they start introducing them, like it made each other mind and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was fire. I thought that show would have been fire if they could have kept that same premise and they kind of find a way to coexist.
So, I saw like his interviews and the behind the scenes stuff. Like he spent a long time training, so I don't know if he's actually a martial artist, but what I do know is that he trained hard for the character, because he wanted to make sure to do that character justice, especially when you have him go up against characters like Ishmael, who before the League of Assassins, he was a badass fighter, and then once he joins, he becomes more badass, but they killed him in the context of the Arrowverse, so I was like, well, we're probably not going to see that, but I do like that they demonstrated that he is very special when it comes to hand-to-hand combat.
And you know what? I'm not even going to lie. Every time he fought, they played a Wu-Tang track, and it just hyped me up even more, bro. I was like, yo, this is fire when them tracks came on, bro.
Yeah. I don't know who pulled the plug on this, but I think they made a big mistake. Big mistake.
I do too.
I wish some other streaming service could pick it up that'll happen. But damn, I sure am really sad that I won't get to see Black Lightning anymore. Didn't like the part where he retired and kind of passed the torch over to his kids. I think he still got some more Black Lightning in him.
And you know what? I'm just gonna say it. Fuck it. All the white shows get 7 seasons, and the fucking black one gets 4.
Well, the thing that's interesting to me is, when I noticed that the ratings dropped, but at the same time, if you look at something like Batwoman, where the ratings are even more abysmal, it has to do with what they want to keep on based on their agenda. Because if you look at Black Lightning, that checks off pretty much all their boxes in a natural sense that comes from a legitimate source material. But to them, I guess they don't have as much faith in that as, say, like a Batwoman. So to me, that's how I look at those things when you have a comparison and there's a similarity except X, Y, and Z, and you just go through the differences because they had already greenlit Batwoman for another season, and then they got rid of Black Lightning, no Painkiller, and then they're doing Naomi. And based off of the little series that I read, I'm like, that shit is boring. I think it's a bad replacement.
Well, man, they should have did Painkiller. I don't give a fuck what anybody says, because that one episode he had was fire, man. He just started kicking ass, and I also like the fact that he's trying to, has Painkiller and Khalil in him, and when he needs to get dirty, Painkiller comes out. I like that shit.
That and another thing I noticed too was when I saw the series finale, like I didn't have any issues with it, but I did pay attention to how the characters were presented, like how I would picture them fighting and stuff. So I think that the writers paid attention to the personalities of the character, like how they would move and fight. But when you have your audience watching, they're gonna have their expectations. But I'm like, yeah, they're moving and behaving as they would, and you have the budget for the show, so you're only gonna see so much. But like that part where the real Jennifer, when she did her finishing move, like they kind of made her look like fire, but in the comics she kind of looks more like lightning. But she ends up looking like that all the time at some point, and her powers continue to grow, just like her sister and just like Jefferson. So the humans that are unfamiliar with source material, they have no idea that the characters that they were seeing, they weren't even at 50% of their overall potential. But the show, if it would have kept going, it would have made sure to show you that, just like how in the recent season they showed that Black Lightning can erase people's memories. So it's like a step-by-step thing that the writers were trying to do. But again, if you get the axe pulled on you, there's not much you can do about that.
Yeah. Yep, you're correct, man. I liked this season, man. I think my favorite episode is the Painkiller episode. I just liked everything they did with him. You know what I mean? And I'm mad that we're not getting a Painkiller spinoff. Hopefully they'll see what they have there and they'll try it, because if they do that show right, it can be one of the best ones that are on the CW. It's just
right.
I totally agree.
And the thing too that I try to get a lot of humans to see is that when you have your show or your movie, of course the main thing is that you want to try to make it as good as possible, but you can never really determine how everyone's going to respond to it, like if it's going to become this big thing, because sometimes you get certain shows and movies that are really good, but then no one watches them, or they watch them after the fact when it's too late. So you have to try to figure out, like, what can we do to create this boom where you actually have something that's good and then everybody and their grandmother is talking about it. It's like really hard to discern. You just have more of a less likely or a more likely scenario, depending on where it's coming from.
This show wasn't successful because of the CW hate or the fact that it was a black hero, or a combination of both?
It probably, I like in the beginning, like, because I remember when season one came out, and like the first three episodes had a pop to them, and then it just like kind of muddled down after that. And I think that has to do with, it being number one a black show, but the focus point of the show is directed towards the black community. So when that happens, if your formula is not necessarily relatable to others outside of that, it can fall short. And then also it being DC, it being part of the Arrowverse, like there were a lot of things that were crippling it, on top of them not marketing the show nearly as much as the other Arrowverse shows in comparison.
Yeah. If I'm not mistaken, it's the only Arrowverse show that was not filmed in Vancouver.
That is correct.
Yeah.
That's why he wasn't in a lot of the crossover, because it was too hard for him to go from
Atlanta
yeah.
to Vancouver.
Well, the thing is, like when they were shooting the first few seasons of Black Lightning, it was separate. Like they didn't even make it part of the Arrowverse until later, because they were trying to, have it be his own thing. Like the notion for the show was good, like where they said that, they wanted these characters to tell their own story and exist on their own without having to tie them down to everything else, which is why I was excited about it. I'm like, yeah, you should let them grow and then you can incorporate them later. DC has many doors and they've handled this kind of stuff before. So if it proves to be successful, you can work it in, or if it fails, you can find a way to work them in anyway through the multiverse. And then, you get the whole crisis and everything.
Yeah. Bigger Ford Entertainment. Thank you. 549. We need more Black Lightning. Definitely, brother. Definitely.
And to be honest with you, I don't know if it's if it had anything to do with because he was black, because I know a few black people. My son said it's corny, and then I was on another stream with someone and they were like, "You like Black Lightning? Nah, that shit is trash." And both black. So, but my son doesn't like the Flash either. So.
See, I don't think that. I think people automatically, some people, the minute they hear CW, they don't give anything a chance, and that's not. I don't think that's particularly fair, because I will agree that some of it's were better or worse than some of it. This particular season of Flash is not my favorite, but because I like Flash, I'm still going to watch it and support it. But I don't gravitate to it like I did in past Flash seasons, because to me, I love Zoom. Zoom's like my favorite. Zoom and Reverse Flash are my two favorite villains so far on this in the Flash universe. I didn't watch Black Lightning every week, but if I missed 2 or 3 episodes, I always binge watch it that same night. And so definitely, I can't think of the first guy. The very first last season, it was Wayne Brady, Gravedigger.
Mm-hmm.
Wayne Brady killed it, man. And they could have gone so many different ways with that. But that's just, to me, didn't capitalize on a good villain, because, man, he killed it. We not used to see him bring way to be such serious, that kind of killer character, man. But to me, he killed it. I was pleasantly surprised.
When I learned that Wayne Brady could play that type of character,
went on that Dave Chappelle thing.
Yeah.
When he was a pimp, whatever.
Yeah. So you're right.
Oh,
and killed it. Huh? You seen that, Terrence?
No, I was just listening to the Wayne Brady thing. Like,
did you see?
I remember
see when
you saw me on the Chappelle show.
I don't think so, but I am aware of him. Like when they cast him as Gravedigger, I didn't really have too strong of an opinion. It was just more of like, let me see what he can do as a character, because for the most part, I don't really have actors and actresses in mind most of the time to play the characters. It's just more of it's either going to be like, oh, that's a good one, or let me see what happens. Or like depending on who it is, I might go, I don't see it, and then maybe they could prove me wrong. But I was like, well, they seem to be on point with the rest of the characters, so I was already kind of open minded, but I wasn't really excited until I saw the execution of the character.
Yeah, it was well done. But oh, Danny, I forgot, man. Wayne Brady was also in that basketball movie, man.
What basketball movie?
The one with Anthony Mackie, Crossover.
I don't think I know that one.
Oh, you never seen Crossover?
I don't think so.
Watch Crossover, bro. Watch Crossover. That's a fire basketball movie, man.
Let's see what it. Let me pull it up. See, crossover.
Yeah, it's fire. It's about Anthony Mackie. If I'm not mistaken, he was a
Came out in 2006.
Yeah, he was like one of those supposed to go to college, took a payoff, and now he's playing street basketball. And Wayne Brady is one of those guys who is paying off these street basketballers, man. And then they have a battle at the end. And he's not joking that Wayne Brady plays a serious role in that movie too.
Oh, the guy that plays Sweetness is in there. Sweetness.
Yeah, I heard what you said about certain things not being fair. I mean, when it comes to most things, honestly, I don't expect humans to be fair about it. Like, especially if they don't have any interest in it, and you can usually tell by the stuff they say. But for me, I like to give it a chance because there's a possibility that they might do something I like. Because if it comes out on a certain platform or if it's part of a certain universe, I'm like, there's always that one exception or whatever it may be. So I cannot just be dismissive because there is a pattern, because patterns tend to be broken too. It's another thing that's not taken in consideration.
Yeah, I feel you. Yeah, I feel you.
So, I mean, overall, like aside from me, not liking that it's gone and them wasting the opportunity with Painkiller, when I see a bunch of shows on TV and they're just either mediocre or terrible or the same shit that I see over and over, or you have like agenda-based stuff, I'm like, there's no reason as to why you shouldn't have given the new one a chance. Like if you were gonna like get rid of Black Lightning, it's like, okay, that's unfortunate. See what you got with the Painkiller thing. Because of the nature of the two characters, you're going to have characters getting shot in the head, neck snapping, so it's basically like, it's like John Wick times 10 because he moves faster than John Wick because he dodges bullets. So, yeah.
Sorry, transfer. And you know what all they need to do is take that episode, call it Painkiller, and put it out as a pilot and see how that works. Because if people aren't watching Black Lightning, then they have no idea that there was that Painkiller episode, right? So you take that one episode that he had and you make it the pilot, you put it out there, you call it Painkiller, and see how people react to it.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too, but it's like, like when they did that episode with him where it was focused on him, that what they call a backdoor pilot, kind of like what they did with Green Arrows and the Canaries in the final season of Arrow. I was just like, this is a nice introduction. So like that was something for the studio themselves to see what the response is. And then if they don't have any faith, then they don't move forward with it. And it's like, okay, well, you can maybe, put it out of the context of that show. But to those in the studio, they're like, well, they didn't respond when it was connected to this. They're not going to respond away from it. That's usually how they think, unfortunately.
Yeah, but a lot more people were watching Arrow than they were Black Lightning. You know what I mean?
Right, and that's even more reason. Like when it comes to Arrow, like the final season, the viewers were not as high as like say season 1 and 2. Like the beginning part kind of peaked and then it dipped and then it peaked a little bit and dipped again. So when you have something like Arrow, if you don't have like this huge response to a backdoor pilot and then you have less humans that watch Black Lightning, they're really going to double down on that kind of sentiment.
Yeah, but
at least how they think naturally.
No, but my point of saying that is obviously you're not going to get the type of numbers that you're supposed to get if you don't if people aren't watching Black Lightning, right? Plus, if I wasn't watching the season, I would have never known they had a fucking Painkiller episode. So what I'm saying is they don't want to film a pilot. You just take that one, you call it Painkiller, and see how the audience reacts to it.
And see, this is one reason
Right.
why here why I defend and why I don't have a problem when they take these established characters and race bend them, in particular when they race bend them to the black, because the black shows that are doing it right, that are being true to the characters, they get
No
canceled like
one's
this right
watching.
here in fourth
Mhm.
season. So if they make Superman black and call him Clark Kent, I don't give a shit. If they make Peter Parker black and call him Peter Parker, I don't care.
Facts.
So because right now, man, I mean, this Jefferson Davis is Black Lightning. His daughters are Thunder and Lightning. Good show, but to me, I almost want to me like it was too urban for society.
It's possible.
It like I don't know what it was. I just know that it didn't have the boom that I wanted it to. I mean, like as I've told you before, I don't want to see the silliness of them changing the characters. Like it's just it's hard to discern like what's gonna work and what's not. If your
Okay.
property is attached to something that is popular, then there's a higher chance. But then there's also the whole like, wait a minute, what happened to this one and the other ones work? Like, what was it about this one that didn't work? And sometimes it could be hard to say.
I really think that it was too urban. Um, black superhero not as popular, I guess, and also the CW effect. I've heard people be like, CW stuff, this. CW stuff ain't all that trash. CW, to me, their crossovers are more cohesive than anything that Warner Brother has done now, with the exception of Zack Snyder's Justice League, but it's more cohesive. The crossover episodes, they make more sense to me. They're more exciting. They don't have the big budget that the film has, but Crisis on Infinite Earths, I enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. 5-night crossover on different shows, and it worked. To me, it worked.
And I think
That's
all the crossovers were good. I liked every single one of them. You know,
well, all of them, you know, worked to the degree that we still have the Arrowverse now, right? But you know, crossovers we don't really get them too often. That's normally, you know, associated with the smaller screen. You have like some examples of the big screen, but something like that was very difficult to do on the small screen. So,
No, what I'm
you-
saying when I say crossover, I mean the crossovers, Supergirl to the Flash to the Green Arrow, all that stuff went good, but Aquaman doesn't connect to Wonder Woman a bit. Wonder Woman doesn't connect to Man of Steel. Man of Steel doesn't connect to Batman. None of that stuff connects and stuff. But they were able to do it on TV much more seamlessly, and their universes collected. And then they was able to even smash together and make one universe that recreated itself.
right? No,
But
I get that. I just
Yeah, I'm just saying. People always, I've heard a lot of people, YouTubers say, just because it's on CW, it's trash. That's not true. That's not true. CW, I'm not saying that their shows don't need help. Sometimes it's, I guess, lazy writing or not. But for the most part, for the ones I've seen, Flash was good. Arrowverse was good. Black Lightning was good. Supergirl, I'm interested in more the some of the episodes in the whole series as a whole, and I personally like the Superman and Lois.
see, and that's the thing, right? Because those conversations can be a bit complicated because usually when I talk to humans most of the time about the Arrowverse, they don't watch it. You know, they're just like they've only seen this season or that season. They don't watch like two or three of the shows. So when they just say from what they've seen, which often from my conversations is limited, I'm like, you don't really have the full spectrum of what that universe is, which is really massive. Like for me, like because I've seen it all, I can break it down like, oh yeah, I didn't like that, or that was cool and this and that. I can have these direct comparisons. So once someone sees something and they separate, then anything else from that point that is attached to it, they're already dismissive of it until they see whatever episode of whatever that shows, and they go, oh, okay, I thought all this was trash. I'm like, well, not necessarily. You have to watch it first. And then if that's how you feel, even if I disagree, I can at least go, well, at least you watched it versus just saying it without having seen it.
Yeah. I hear you. But I know Flash season 1, 2, and 3, I think were probably the most popular seasons out of all the shows. Well, and Arrow's first couple of seasons as well. But it's hard to maintain a show for 7 seasons because to me, the Thinker season, trash.
No, not the Thinker.
Yeah, I like the Thinker came in season 4 because season 5 I remember had Cicada, and then you had the female Cicada.
No,
Cicada
was trash.
Was trash. The Thinker was trash. Cicada was trash. Mirror Master was trash.
Yeah, I really wasn't a friend of his daughter neither.
I like the Thinker season because the fact that he was not a speedster, and that character is an intellectual character. Like some humans, they're like, no, it should be a speedster, or it should be this character, that character. And then depending on who they say, I'm like, okay, so would you want that character to be like the main one, or do you want the whole, every episode a smaller villain comes in, but you still have the main one in the background? So I get these different responses. But for me, I'm like, I want to see him fight everyone that is attached to him.
Now that I think about it, the Cicada and Reverse Flash kind of work hand in hand because he used Cicada basically to free himself from that time prison. So that was all. That was kind of Cicada the first half of the season, but then the second half of the season it kind of went back to the Reverse Flash because it showed just how far ahead of the Flash he was in preparation and stuff.
Yeah,
and it showed how he kind of befriended, he kind of taught Nora and stuff.
Yeah, that season needed a lot more Reverse Flash and less Cicada because the guy who played a Cicada from
American
Pie is trash.
It's like I didn't have an issue with him specifically. Like I was actually surprised to see him in the role, but I was like, okay. Like I was actually more fascinated with the character and not so much his performance, just because of what Cicada can do. And then when they brought in his daughter, I didn't care for that as much. I would have preferred that if they were going to use him, they just keep him around. Because to me, his daughter was a pale comparison based on what I saw.
And this season of Flash was absolutely trash so far as well. With the fucking forces. Oh, God, that's horrible.
And see that, like, I actually enjoyed it. Like, the only part that I didn't like was the beginning when they were still dealing with Mirror Master, and then it somehow Mirror Monarch. I'm like, those are two different characters, both male characters too. So I'm like, not only was the character changed, but they mixed two characters. It was like very odd to me, and I thought the execution was bad. But once they got into the forces, because you have these different forces, and I'm like, that's cool that they're actually showing that. Like I was waiting for them to do something where you focus on it in a more direct way and let individuals know that there's more than the regular Speed Force and the negative Speed Force. You have those other ones like the Strength Force and so on. So they made sure to explore that. So I'm like, now that you have that out of the way, when you continue to tell your story, you don't have to spend any more time on it because it's already been set up. That frees you up to tell other stories. So that I kind of see it as like, okay, you got it out there, cool. I've been waiting on it. Now move on to something else, which is what they tend to do.
Then you know what's really a reoccurring theme too for the Flash is getting kind of old. He always redeems the bad guys.
Mhm.
The bad guys can be
Yeah.
doing something, then he'll come there and he's talk to them, and he always talk them down and talk. Only when he can't talk out of something is Reverse Flash. Everybody else he's been able to talk down or reason with or do something, and it's just kind of crazy to me.
Well, let me think, because I know that the Crisis essentially changed like 99% of the characters. So there's that. Like if I look at his villains, like Reverse Flash in season one, he cannot convince him to do anything. And then you go to Zoom in season two, I'm like, Zoom was an asshole and he killed a bunch of people. And then you get the Savitar and the Thinker. I feel like the main ones were
He
more
talked.
unmoved.
He changed Savitar thought. The Thinker. If I'm mistaken, he convinced the Thinker's wife to betray him or something.
Well, the Thinker's
Mm.
wife, to me,
She,
wasn't so much that she was convinced to betray him as much as he made a mistake.
he
Like all
neglected
he
her.
had to do was show affection to his
Yeah.
girl, but
Uh-huh.
he was too busy focused on controlling everyone else's thought pattern. So for me, uh, me being who I am, I'm like, that's just a basic thing. Like you're supposed to be able to pick up on the emotions of a human, especially when those emotions are typical and they're coming from your partner. So I was like, I didn't know for sure, but once we got to that middle part of the Flash season four, I was thinking, told my friends, told my brother, I'm like, that might be his undoing. It won't be Team Flash. It will be because he emotionally neglected his wife.
Mm-hmm.
And that's pretty much what happened.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Oh, what's up, Sci-Fi Nation? Sorry I didn't say hi to you. I see you in the chat there. Shifty Gizm is in the house too as well. What's up, guys? Much appreciated, I don't know. For me, I just think the seasons have gotten a lot worse, I'm actually wait, and I had to ask you, were those 2 episodes the season finale?
You talking about the Flash?
Yeah.
Yeah, they were supposed to be the season finale for the previous season, but the pandemic fucked everything up. So they had to then in turn start the new season with that. That's why that's why it felt kind of weird for a lot of individuals. They're like, why does it seem like this belonged in the other seasons? Like, because it did. It just
Well, I know the Mirror Master stuff, but even the the power things, that too was part of that season too.
The Speed Force stuff, like that was to me like because you had you had Blood Work and then you had Mirror Master and she was there. Like the Speed Force became more prevalent in the new season when they actually started focusing on it because Nora, she came and then she started getting all crazy and then they started to specifically focus on the forces. So it went from like being a background thing to this is now the focus point because each season has like one main villain, maybe two, and then like whatever one they're not focusing on, then you have the smaller one. So the whole Speed Forces thing, it's done in terms of where they were going to go with it. So now I heard that it's supposed to be the real Godspeed is supposed to be the rest of the mainstay. If that happens and they do it right, that will be great because Godspeed he is crazy as hell. For those that like Reverse Flash and characters like that, they'll probably get back on board with that because it'll at least have some remnants of that. Like, oh, okay, this is more of what I like when I got into the Flash. So now, if you kind of circle back around to the familiar while introducing new concepts and the ways of power, that might be enough
But what
to
trips me out
slightly
about the
budge
Flash
individuals that
thing
remaining.
is that I know Reverse Flash is supposed to be his equal and superior to him in some ways. But all these other species usually are faster than he is.
Yeah, the fastest speedster is Wally West. So, the other speedsters, like by and large, they'll have their moments, and then Barry is the second fastest. But Wally
Right.
West, like the little things that we've seen him do, and he has these feats where Barry is impressed. So I'm like, yeah, those are Easter eggs because he will be better and faster than him soon enough.
I never seen that because he can't even phase yet. Well, last time we saw him, he couldn't.
Right. Like the show is introducing it in phases. There's a process to it. Well, I'm like, Wally West is faster than he is. He's not yet, but I don't know if they're gonna make it to where they'll specifically say that is the case because the show is focused on Barry. It's not focused on Wally. Because if it were, then they would tell you that Wally is the fastest. And then Barry himself would also confirm that. But I'm not expecting the other speedsters to always like be better than him. They'll have their moments because they're supposed to shine. Like he needs their help because they can do things that either he doesn't know how to do or he doesn't know how to do well. And that experience makes all the difference, which is why when they introduce you to another speedster, you see stuff and you're like, how come Barry can't do that? And sometimes it's not so much that he can, it's just he doesn't know how to do it well. Like you kind of have to think of it as, like if you got like two martial artists and like one knows how to do a move that the other one's just like, well, how the hell do you do that? And then that other martial artist practices and, they're either going to be on the same level or sometimes better. So that's kind of how they go about it with the speedsters. There's a bunch of similarities, but you're always going to have someone that can do something the other one can't.
Jason Lee Tucker statement, $1.99 super chat. Thanks, night guys. Thank you for the help. Not a problem, Jason, man. I appreciate it. I didn't jump off on you earlier. I hit the wrong button by mistake. But I sent you a text on your phone. Well, I'll get with you tomorrow.
But I understand. I hear different sentiments and opinions in relation to the Arrowverse and all these things. And I feel like I'm opening to listening to all of it as long as, at the start of the conversation, the person isn't going to be completely dismissive, which means that no matter what I say or show them, if they've already made up in their mind that it's bad, I'm like, well, they could do the best thing ever and it's going to be bad because you think the whole thing is bad. I'm like, there's no real point to the discussion at that point because there's nothing that I would be able to do, like not so much to convince them, but I'm like, okay, you're saying everything is bad. What do you think about this? Bad. I'm like, okay, well, then at that point, I would want to know what do they feel is good, and then we can have a conversation about that.
I agree.
Sci-Fi Nation said, I would love to hear you speak on, I believe, the 90s Flash show. I remember it started Wesley.
Yeah,
Wesley Ship. Yeah.
Wesley Ship. Some people think it's the better Flash out of two. I don't personally. I didn't care for his suit. I don't think it was comic book accurate.
When I saw his suit when I was a kid, I'm like, that's the Flash. The Flash is very muscular, even though he's smaller than the other characters, he's still pretty buff. Mm-hmm. In fact, all the speedsters are supposed to be buff to varying degrees. The females are a little bit more slender and athletic, but I'm like, if you like a lot of times when you see the characters in the comic books, you see all the muscle striations and stuff, and they're kind of popping out of the costume in a way that it doesn't work like that in reality. Like you would more so have to remove the clothing for the muscles to be revealed in that sort of way. But I'm like, that's how his costume is supposed to look. So when I saw that, I thought that was great, seeing his costume in that way, that they didn't like try to make it very ordinary. Like, oh, okay, I could see that you're doing the Flash, but why did you try to normalize it like that?
Yeah, but
I don't like when they do that.
If you go too fast, he would get dizzy, have dizzy spells and stuff. I never seen that happen in the comic books. I know the Flash had to consume a lot of food and stuff because he burned so much calories. But he would, if he ran too fast or something, there'd be some spells when he was dizzy or he would lose his balance and equilibrium and he'd be weak at that moment. I'm glad to go do that on this Flash.
Fuck, I don't
Well,
even
the
remember that shit. So I just remember because I watched one episode like maybe a few years ago, and it did not age well as well. I used to love that show, but it did not age well at all.
I when it like I remember when I was in film class, right? My teacher had a good habit of showing films that were not necessarily ones that everyone would go see, but they were superior to all the ones that everyone would go see in terms of like what it means to be a good film in terms of characters and story development. So, one of the questions came up about films that are older and how they age and stuff. And, I said that to me, like if I were to watch like say Bride of Frankenstein or something like that, I don't look at it and go, well, they only made it that dark because they didn't have a lot of money. Like I'm only focused on the story because, as time goes on, the budgets for shows and movies are higher. They can do things to make it look more pretty. So I don't really look at it in that way. I just kind of look at the story. And then also, imagination comes into play. And then, I think that, well, if they do it later on, then they'll be able to do the fire or whatever in the way that they want. But as long as the characters and the story is interesting to me, then I can forgive what is lacking in a certain time period or whatever, because to them at that time, it was good. But I'm just like, is that how the character is supposed to be or not? Because you can choose to write them a certain way, and it has nothing to do with your time period. But your effects will be limited based on the time period and whatever budget that you have.
I think it all goes down to budget because 1939 special
No, I
effects.
agree with you, but I mean, me personally, if I could never watch that. I could never watch that whole season again. Like,
I could.
it's very choppy when it comes to the effects. Like when he's running, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. No, sorry.
Like no, I definitely get that. I mean, a few months ago I started watching it again, just to get a refresher, and I'm like, I like that, they showed him running, you know what I mean? Like even though there was some choppiness and some issues. So
yeah, I think that it all. Let's see. It all was about the budget because I'll just look back and saw what year was The Wizard of Oz. It came out in 1939. Special effects wasn't at its highest and stuff, but look how good that movie looks, and it still holds up. I watch it. I'll watch it today if it comes on. I don't see that thing. I guarantee you, 200, 300 times in my childhood. But if it comes on today, I will still sit down and watch it. I mean, that movie ages well. So another one, 10 Commandments. I don't know when the hell that came out, but every time that show comes on, I watch that. So I don't know.
I get
the story plus budget. I'm not sure what the magic recipe is, but some movies just hold up well. I don't know. I know they say. Go ahead.
I think it just depends on the person, right? Because the way that I see films, like I'm looking for characters and story, and then to me, special effects is extra. It's like you giving me a steak, potatoes, vegetables, and then you come out with the cheesecake or some kind of dessert. To me, that's what that is.
It came out in 1956. Damn.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like to me, I'm like, I don't. You could put on anything because I love movies in general. I've seen a lot of shows, but I prefer movies. So it doesn't matter the time period. My question will be, what's the story about? What's the characters? And I just want that to be on point more than anything else. The rest of that is just like, that's extra. That's how I've always thought about anything in relation to entertainment. Because when you're when they're casting an actor or an actress in a role, you walk into a room and you do a performance. There's no special effects in the room. You just have to convince them with your presence and your performance. So that's how I look at it, even with that stuff added. Like, what can you do to convince me that you're able to do whatever it is, whether you can run fast or you're supposed to be a mob boss or a comedian, whatever it is. Like, what can you do to convince me?
Yeah.
Didn't you say that the old Spider-Man was trash?
Yes, and the reason why I said that is not because of the time period. It's because the Peter Parker character had no personality. He was not Peter Parker at all. So that would be an example of the writing being a problem because
He was
it,
smart enough photographer.
yeah, he was. Like that's absolutely correct. He was, but there was nothing else there that screamed Peter Parker. It was very bland. Like despite the stuff with the webbing and how he was climbing, I would have been forgiving of that if he would have behaved in the way that Peter Parker does in the comic books. That was not there.
I forgive the climbing, but the webs, they need their ass whipped.
Right. I mean, I'm just trying to
Yeah,
give you.
I know what you're
know,
saying. I'm just saying
yeah.
the webs. I was like, come on now, I could create something better than that in my backyard. Walmart makes a
Right.
can spray that looks better than some of that shit.
Right.
Come on now. But I think it came out like 78, 79. I'm mistaken.
What you talking about the Spider-Man one?
Yeah, let me see what it is.
Yeah, there was a short show, and then they made a couple of movies after it as
It
well.
was Spider-Man. Then it came out as Amazing Spider-Man. They rebranded it. Spider-Man TV show. What year did that come out?
1967.
No, like 77. Came out 77. 13 episodes.
And it was like because to me, like in terms of things,
77 to 79.
what was it? Okay, so before Blade came out in 1998, the coolest thing that I saw in relation to Marvel live action was the Incredible Hulk with Lou Ferrigno and Bill Bixby. Only because Lou Ferrigno was so big, I'm like, hey, it's the Hulk, like he's a real person. And then Bill Bixby, I thought he did a good job as Bruce Banner, and that was pretty much the beginning and the end of my joy. Like the show itself, in terms of its storytelling, was okay, but I was more captivated. Yeah, I was more captivated by Bill Bixby and Lou Ferrigno themselves. Like I feel like they transcended what they were working with because they were convincing as their comic book characters.
I saw the autobiography on that, and Bill Bixby was like during that time he's one of the most serious actors, very serious, and he was like, "I'm not playing this if it's going to be corny, if it's going to be cartoonish. I don't want no parts of it. We got to put some realization to this." So he was really had hands on about the stories and stuff. Because to me, his stories was compelling. And if you watch it from the beginning to the end, the transition of how the Hulk looked and stuff, him and Lou Ferrigno both had hands in that because first time Hulk looked like a Neanderthal. But if you watch like the Death of the Incredible Hulk, that's like the biggest I've ever seen Lou Ferrigno. I don't know what the hell he did doing that series, but
I would say the biggest I've seen Lou Ferrigno was when he played Hercules.
No, I'm talking about in the Hulk series.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you watch, it was 3 different movies after the series went off. It was The Trial of the Incredible Hulk, which starred Daredevil, and The Return of the Incredible Hulk, which focused on Thor.
Oh my God!
And then the Death of the Hulk is when he got killed. Like how the Hulk gonna get killed
out of a helicopter?
I mean, yeah, no, I get that. Like it was one of the few where it was like this successful thing, but at the same time, like to me, I feel like if you don't have Bill Bixby and Lou Ferrigno, your show would just kind of be dead in the water. I feel like they were the magic that made that work.
It was, but I watched the biography and the story behind it. He was very serious, and he went through a lot of like his son got killed during that time, his wife got divorced, So he had
Mhm.
some of that stuff. The scene he carried some of that paint on the actual scenes and stuff. So
Right. Like, and you know, that's
that's like one of
unfortunate.
my favorite live action comic book heroes TV shows of all time. I watched every episode of the Hulk.
And I
Yeah,
and
so
I
did
was and I was by myself when I watched that. Like that was one of those like my family. They're like, hey, that's the Hulk guy, right? Because
Mhm.
aside from like, because the DC characters were more well known. Like you had to be like Hulk or Spider Man for the normies to know. Because Hulk was the buff guy.
Okay,
Except for that.
so I do not remember this Spider-Man show,
What?
but I'm watching some of it now, and I'm just like, "Holy cow, this is trash!"
Yeah, it's one of the. I'm telling you, Anzo.
The
Like
only
I
thing
had
that
to,
was good. Now his suit was comic book accurate,
but
like his fighting,
see-
it would be like some kind of Hong Kong Chinese fighting and stuff.
done very poorly by Americans. Absolutely. That's what I got from it. Cause I grew up on martial arts films, and it's like if you didn't
Remember
have
that?
that team,
Remember the live action Shazam, Hanzo?
yeah.
I don't.
It,
Don't
and
age well, but boy,
okay,
only
but see
thing-
the thing.
go ahead.
But did you like that show, the Shazam?
I did
I
because
didn't like it.
I was like 8 years old, bro. That's what we
Right,
had
right.
back then.
Right, of course. But
Oh, let me go check out
you,
Shazam.
it. But
The
what
only
was
thing
it?
I really liked about Shazam was that transformation. When you say Shazam, and when he transformed from Billy to Shazam, I always
Right.
thought that shot was tight.
I thought it was cool too. I just thought it was while I enjoyed it. Now this is when I was a kid, right? So I enjoyed it. It was a little odd that he went from a Hispanic to an Italian man. Like that's kind of odd. But the messages in the episodes, like to teach kids about right and
Yes,
wrong and
That's
theft
what I
and
like about the
murder.
shows back then. After every episode, they would show you and tell you a little story about the episode might be about on bullying or might be drugs. Or, they don't do shows like that no more now.
Right. See, and it was that foundation that individuals like my grandparents they liked, right? Because it was like when I was watching The Incredible Hulk, it was just me by myself in front of the TV. Like maybe occasionally with the cousins because they had all the comics and shit, but it was just me. But when we had our family events where it'd be everybody in the room, it had to be Batman or the Green Hornet. That's when everybody was around.
Boy,
You
I
know,
just love the
so-
Green Hornet boy.
Yeah, when they had that crossover when it was Green Hornet and Kato versus Batman and Robin, like that.
If I was Dick Grayson, I'd be like, hell no. Do you know who I gotta
Right.
fight? I gotta fight Bruce Lee. I ain't getting paired up with that. No,
Exactly.
not
The
gonna
way
do
the way he kicked him over that table, I was like, Robin, just stay down. Like I've been kicked hard as hell before by martial arts, and sometimes when you pick yourself up, you a damn fool. You should have stayed on the ground. What were you thinking? Like that's not good. So
boy, I'm glad I don't fight these guys every day, every week. You damn sure straight. You glad you don't fight them guys every week.
right.
Yeah, that Shazam show looks like fucking trash too.
Right. I can't say that it's like this great show and stuff, but from a kid perspective, they do learn stuff. You know what I mean?
They would have like lessons at the end of every show.
Well, how
Right,
long did that run for? Because it says 1970, and I was born in 74. So
It ran like 3 episodes. I mean
I
3
think it was-
seasons rather.
Yeah, it was like the seasons were different back then, the way how many episodes were in them. So it's like, when you add them
think it
together,
had
it's
like-
not a whole lot.
Like 27, 28 episodes because they changed
Something like it
Shazam.
was short. Yeah.
They changed Shazam because the first Shazam was skinny. The
Right.
second Shazam was kind of chubby. So how the
Right,
hell
right.
you get a chubby Shazam?
Yeah, I remember they changed him, Danny, and then like the other actor came back for a minute, and then they went back to that one, and he was there.
The skinny
The
guy.
rest of the show, but like,
The skinny
I-
guy was the best one, but he wanted more money.
right,
So
right.
They didn't want to give him no more money, so they went to John Davy. John Day became the Captain Marvel. I didn't like his.
And you remember that one where it was Shazam and ISIS, Danny?
Yep, Shazam, ISIS Hour.
Yep. Yeah, it was one of those things because I remember, the family would talk about because you get to the end of the Batman episode and they be in some kind of trap or something. The narrator's like, "Will they escape? Find out next week."
That used to piss me off. Okay, if I get you in a trap, I'm gonna stay there and watch your ass get killed. I'm gonna be like,
right.
Oh, and the Joker was notorious. Ooh, yeah, you're gonna do this.
Right. He'd be like, "Yep, you ain't gonna get out of this." And the narrator's like, "Will he escape?" And I remember like the episode would end.
Back time.
Same back channel.
Like, and then it would then when it was playing the music, then that's when the conversation started. It was like, "So Terrence, you think Batman and Robin are gonna escape?" And they'd ask me how I think they're gonna escape and shit. Like it was fun.
I remember this one.
And Terrence be quoting the comics. Well, in the comic book, this is what happened, and Batman did this trap and pulled this, and Robin got this and that.
I remember one where they poured like cement over Batman, but he was able to like hold his breath and all kind of crazy shit. Yeah, I remember one like somebody almost went to the Bat Cave and they had to run like a 4-minute mile. Then they had to do something again. Then they ran a 3-minute mile. We're gonna break our own record, Robert. Run a 2-minute mile. Okay, motherfucker. You gonna run a mile in 3 minutes.
Right.
And they wouldn't show them running like a regular person. They'd be like,
right. Fast as fuck. You think they speedsters? Like, man, God. You should have seen me, Danny. Like, I would be driving my family crazy because I try to imitate, Bruce Wayne, and like the phone would ring and I would act like it's Commissioner Gordon calling and shit. Like, parents, give us the damn phone. Like,
Andrew Caselli. Hey, Don, Danny Anzo. Hey, what's up, bro?
What's up, man? How you doing?
Sci-Fi said, although my stepdad was a cop, he tried martial arts. I did training my dad gave me. I had to apologize for hurting him. Damn.
Oh, something we didn't talk about. What did you think about what's his name coming back in Black Lightning?
Oh yeah, Lala. Yeah.
Yeah, Lala. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that.
Allah said,
finally somebody got your ass. Right. I started clapping. I was like, because I wanted to see his face. I hope because I thought it was going to be they show him looking and it cuts off, but I was like, please react to it. Just say something, Like,
somebody finally get your ass.
Yeah. And then looking around the mansion, and he's like, yeah, this is my shit now.
Yeah, this is definitely my shit now. Like, and it
reminded me of the black guy that took over the mansion in Invincible. That's what it reminded me of.
Right.
Yeah. But I'm glad we said that. The thing with the chief made no sense.
Oh, with her taking the fucking serum?
Took the thing, all she did, she was, I don't know why the hell she was so hell bent on getting lightning instead of the rest of them. And then she get a power that's similar to lightning's. And then Lightning beat her with I was like,
man, Danny, like I was just saying for the longest time, like they need to snap her up because she was driven completely by emotion. It's tied to her family, and Lightning was an easier target because she was around and stuff. Like I'm gonna get her, and if I get her, that's gonna make me feel good, and the rest of the metas are gonna be scared and all that. I'm like, Chief Lopez. Sometimes in life you need to be tossed out a window.
And we all know how Terrence feels about emotions. So yeah,
like especially if it's like that, like where the things that you're doing and saying just seem to be one-sided. I'm like, are you even thinking about these situations? Because it seems like you're only thinking of this particular pain, and you feel like now all of them are responsible. You're not supposed to do that if you are a cop. You have like certain rules and morals to uphold if you're trying to be a good cop. So I would have to question her like in a more direct way. I'm like, she would naturally probably try to bring the way that I think into the equation, or at least she would try to articulate it, and she would fail, and I would have to correct her over and over again. but I would just let her know, like, you don't get to do that. Just like, reverse Professor Zoom was telling Barry, you don't get to do this. You're a hero. I'm a villain. That means the shit is different for me. When you do it, it's worse because you're the one that's talking about you care and law this and uphold that. You sound like a hypocrite right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. That like Danny said, that was one of those unnecessary plot points that you didn't really need to put in that, and you could have used that to more focus on something else.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think that was useless with that cop girl. It didn't make sense to me.
Right. And I wish I could know, like, if it was season 4, if it were already completed or if they had to like finish the last few, like, oh shit, it's gonna end. We gotta just like try to wrap it up and this and that. But it's like, and then you're like, okay, but they had plans, but those plans could be tossed aside. So, maybe some of that was supposed to stay a little bit longer, but you couldn't. Like, I don't know.
Well, they knew they were ending the season before they started filming, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. But I mean, it's crazy though, right, Anzo? Because if you have plans for 2 more seasons, right? Like,
right. Maybe that's what I was gonna say. Maybe they had the seasons planned out and then had to change it midway through so that it would end. That could be definitely possible. You know what I mean?
Right.
Well, not midway through filming, but you have a script written out and then it's like, oh, it's canceled. So now you got to go back and you got to change it so that it's more of a finale than anything else, right? So.
Right.
Yeah. We're fucked up though. Could have missed that show.
Yeah, because
what's up, Zach?
It was just something about just kind of, seeing them almost every week for 4 years. I'm like, we're doing Black Lightning. Like, what do you know? Like, is this one of those? Like,
I'm gonna miss it, like you said, too, man, because I didn't too much care for the feel sorry for myself, Black Light. But when he got his head together, man, and Black Light was hell when he be beating your ass, boy.
Mm-hmm.
They hit you with them damn lightning punches. I'm like, damn,
and
then I'm gonna miss Tobias, man. Tobias is one of the most underrated villains on TV, man, and he probably ain't never gonna get his due.
You know what it is? You know what it is? Like, humans have to see him, because if you just say, Black Lightning CW, they're like, nah. But they have to see Tobias, and when they see him, then they could start thinking. But they can't just dismiss him like Tobias. Oh, where is he from? Oh, he's in the Arrowverse. Oh, hell no, that's trash.
Nah, man, when Tobias starts talking his Negro shit, you know what I mean? What did he say to Black Lightning when he came in? He said, "You're not you happy head Negro, you still alive."
Like it's just, his lines are fucking crazy as hell. Like, I still remember in the earlier seasons when they were like, man, Tobias, like, you really hate black people, don't you? He's like, nah, I don't hate black people. I just dislike big-lipped, scratch where it don't itch Negroes like you. And he just grabbed him by the neck. I was like, yeah.
Or when I think it was the first season where they were praying and they were doing the vigil outside. Yeah. It was like, these nappy head niggas are Negroes always praying and don't know something, he said. And I was just like, yeah,
right. Yeah. He looked so disappointed because the window had rolled down, Anzo. He's just like, they always praying and singing and praying.
Yeah.
Everybody talking about going to heaven, but don't nobody want to die. He just started shooting out the window.
Yeah, Tobias is on point, man.
Yeah.
He got a crazy name. His name is Krondon.
Yeah, he was he was
Didn't he
rapper.
do the voice didn't he do the voice for Darkseid in one of the animated?
I don't think so.
I'm not sure. I don't recall him doing it. I mean, you might be right, but he was a rapper. Like, he did a lot of ghostwriting for different rappers and stuff. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because I had when the show like first started, I was just like, who is Krondon? Like, do I know him or not? And then I was looking into him, and he did some ghost writing for, I saw like they had like a exhibit and these different rappers, and he had his own group for a minute. So I was like, oh, okay.
And he plays the piano real life too, like he did in the last episode. He did.
Yeah,
Oh,
he's a talented dude. He's really intelligent. He's really nice in real life, very polite from what I've seen of him in interviews. And that's how I knew, like, okay, this dude is a good actor because he is nothing like Tobias. Like, it's just
Yeah. They
it's like
said
a switch turned
he
on.
has written for Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre, Exhibit.
Mhm. Yeah,
oh yeah.
yeah, yeah. He's I feel like one of my buddies. He knows, like, because I've heard a lot of rap and seen documentaries and stuff. But I have a buddy where he just anything rap, he just can tell you everything. So he was hip to Kron Don before he was on Black Lightning.
He was
So
in Spider. I don't know if I seen that right. He's in Spider Into the Spider Verse.
you said he's in it, like he did one of the voices.
Yeah.
Oh, which character? I
Hold
must have
on. I'm
forgot
gonna
that.
look for. I'm looking for that now because I see it under his IMDb.
Okay. Huh. Yeah, I'm trying to think because yeah. Let me know which character if it tells us.
Yeah, I'm looking for it.
Um,
Hold on. Let me see.
yeah, Krondon. He's a good dude from what I've seen.
I'm checking now.
Oh yeah, no worries. Yeah, he's definitely a good dude. He likes to go around and talk to others, help them. He donates his money sometimes. So yeah, he's a real cool dude. The whole cast is, for that matter. Like even Cress Williams, Black Lightning. He's a cool dude as well. I saw earlier in some articles that I was reading that he's willing to appear in the Arrowverse again as Black Lightning, because him and Barry Allen, they're friends. So the final season, well, maybe it's the final season, like the Flash season 8, but like if it is, the point is that like the first 5 episodes of his show are going to be like this huge crossover kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So Black Lightning might be included in that because he's friends with Barry. So
It says
um,
it says he played Tombstone.
oh shit, okay.
I don't remember Tombstone.
Yeah, I think he was if I'm not mistaken, he was like in the beginning for a minute, right? It was like they introduced like Kingpin, and then when he was kind of getting out of that car that
Oh
he shouldn't have.
yeah.
Yeah.
And they showed a scene where they're walking together.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, shout out to Krondon, yeah.
Yeah, man. I like him. Good actor.
Yeah, he just like
I don't
it's
see it
crazy,
here.
Anzo, 'cause- Wait, go ahead.
No,
Wait,
go
go
ahead.
ahead.
Continue.
No, I was just
You
saying,
go.
Anzo, like it's crazy, Anzo, because the way man, like he's able to turn it on and off like that,
Mm-hmm.
like
Yeah.
it's impressive, yeah.
I agree.
I listened to him on Sway on the morning, and he don't sound too impressive to me.
What's he doing? Rapping?
Yeah.
Oh, he's on Sway rapping, really?
Like I mean, I've heard some of it. I mean, like I think that when it comes to writing, he's good because otherwise those artists wouldn't have had him be the ghostwriter. You know what I mean?
Oh, I'm not saying he can't rap. I'm just saying his flow don't sound nothing I'd buy.
Right. I mean, you might have to listen to something else. I mean,
Yeah.
sometimes like
certain you can't go on Sway in the morning with that 5 fingers of death be bullshit. Because if you do, your ass would be looking like a clown.
So
right. No, I get that. Yeah.
Let me ask you this: did you hear when Shia LaBeouf did it?
Shia
LaBeouf when he was
5
on
fingers,
Sway?
5 fingers of death.
Yep.
Did he kill him?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
I'm gonna tell you the coolest one I seen on there was Papoose, boy. Woo.
I seen Papoose one. Papoose was nice, but I was surprised with Shia LaBeouf. I was like, "What the fuck?"
Who was the last one that I'm trying to think?
Wayne Brady did it too.
Yeah, Wayne Brady wasn't that good though.
I mean, who was the last one I saw in there?
5 Fingers of Death. Shia.
Yeah, it's been a minute. Like I don't recall who was the last person I saw in this way.
Yeah.
I mean, like it, for me, I'm not sure if I told you, Anzo, but I mean, haven't I told you that I used to like write stories and scripts and stuff? Or
Mm-hmm.
so, like, because when I was in middle school, I had a friend, like his nickname was Looney, and
Mm-hmm.
he was the rapper of our school. So I met him during lunchtime because I was, writing my little short horror stories at the time. And, he
Mm-hmm.
came over and he's like, "Oh, you're a writer, huh?" And I was like, "Oh, yeah, yeah. I just kind of, do this to vent, like my anger and shit turns into these characters." And my teacher told me that I can do this and I was getting like grades for it and shit. So he was reading them. And then that's when he told me, "Hey, I'm a rapper." So, we started hanging out and then he would just kind of rap and the kids would come around. And for a minute, because he was having so much fun, I tried to do it too,
Mm-hmm.
but I was more interested in the writing aspect of it because I told him I was like, if I work at it, I could probably be okay, but
Mm-hmm.
writing is more of my forte. So I feel like I would, prefer to write them before I, try to do them myself because he had a natural way of being able to flip the words and do it with a certain speed and stuff. So you probably would have liked him, Monzo. Like I don't know what happened to him. I just kind of it's like he like vanished or some shit by the time we got to eighth grade.
Mm-hmm.
But he was a cool guy though. Pretty talented too. Like for the rapping, like
Oh
he
yeah.
was like I think he might have been maybe the only one in terms of my entire schooling where I felt like this dude is gonna like he can be one of the rappers that everybody likes. Like he had that sort of talent when it came to rapping.
Danny, you didn't seem impressed.
Oh, he's straight.
Yeah, straight, eh? You would never think, man. I was like, what the hell? Okay, it's not bad. I mean, it's not like, like a red man type of shit. Yeah, I mean, but for him
He,
to come out there and
Bro,
freestyle
I
like
saw
that,
Red Man on one.
he
He killed
yeah,
and
it.
Red Man kills it.
it was interesting too, Anzo, because like I hadn't thought about it like until he had mentioned it to me.
Mm-hmm.
Because he was just like, so uh when it comes to your writing, are you able to just write anything or is it limited to horror? And that's when I started experimenting. I was like, I can try to write raps. I mean, I at that time I was also writing poetry and things. So I'm like, I would imagine that I could come up with something. But because he was actually a rapper, I felt
Mm-hmm.
like there would be a certain sense of it being more natural for him versus if, me being a writer, if I just decided to write raps kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, bro, we gotta end it because I'm getting
Yeah,
sleepy.
man. Yeah, man.
But
But yeah,
we'll do this again another time. Like I said, I'm definitely gonna miss. I'm definitely gonna miss Black Lightning. It was
So
definitely a good show.
what do you give your grade for the series and for the
Series.
final season?
Oh, the series is definitely an A. Series is an A plus.
mhm, yeah,
Not only the only crap I got is the Tobias fight scene with Black Lightning. To me, was kind of
Mm-hmm.
anticlimactic, a little underwhelming, especially when it was building up to that. I thought that should have been like the most. Uh,
Yeah.
should have been the best choreograph. To me, Tobias looked way more like a street fighter and slugger versus somebody that's supposed to have the skill set that Black Lightning has.
Mm-hmm.
And other than
I
that,
just like he was able to take a lot of damage because I'm like he shocked him in his heart. I'm like that. This dude just grunted
but
at
we
him
know
and
that
slid him to a table.
he was able to take that stuff that the wife did and kind of
Yeah, yeah.
to
Mm-hmm.
to fix
No.
it and manipulate it so it would nullify Black Lightning's power. But since Black Lightning had got that power from the rocks, I think that kind of override whatever protection he had. So,
And
plus
also there was, you know,
knock
more
out that-
put into it as well. Yeah.
they knock out that emitter too. So
Mhm.
So it I just like how he was, you know, slugging and hitting them with things because I'm like, that's what he would do. You know, Black Lightning is the one that should be doing like the roundhouse kicks and stuff. Because I felt like when he picked him up and then he, you know, shocked him, he dropped him, and he shocked him and he flew out the window. I'm like, if he wasn't near that window, then they would have kept fighting because he kept getting up every time something happened.
Mhm.
You know, so I felt like it was one of those when he hit him out the window, I was like, oh shit. Like, and then, you know, I was like, is he hanging on? And then you see he got impaled. I was like, fuck.
Mhm.
Damn.
I thought he was hanging on, but he was impaled before they showed it. But I'll give mine so we can get Danny out of here. I will give mine for the series. I'm gonna give it an A plus, and I'm gonna give this final season an A.
Yeah. Yeah. Here. Same thing. You know, fantastic. A for the whole series, A plus and all that. So, you know, same thing for the final season. I gotta say though, Danny, I was worried about Gambi the whole time because he normally dies pretty early in the comics.
man,
So
I like Gambi, man. Gambi was the
Me
glue.
too.
Yeah, Gambi is awesome, man. I just out of all the characters, I was always worried because every time Gambi wouldn't be on screen or something would happen, I'm like, they about to kill Gambi.
Well, all the characters that could have died, Lynn to me, she got on my nerves.
Yeah, she could have died too.
Yeah, so she could have died. I would have been just as.
Did you guys know that Gambi was the bad guy in in 48 Hours, the first one?
Yeah. Did you? Yeah. And then we all know that he was Raiden in Annihilation, and then, like he was the gunman in Django Unchained. He's the one that worked for Calvin Candy. He was the one with the shotgun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's interesting when you see certain individuals and then you see other things. You're like, oh yeah, that's right. He was in this, and this. Yeah.
All right, fellas, it was a good show, man. We'll have to do this again some other time. Until next time, peace.
Yeah.